hazards associated with mold and dampness underscore the urgency of addressing this infrastructure deficiency. It might be unwise to depend on the state for financing this crucial infrastructure project. Due to policy uncertainties, the state of Connecticut is unsure of funding allocations for highway, education, and Medicare grants. The process for the next state budget will likely be challenging with various competing priorities and limited funds available. This uncertainty could delay or even jeopardize the necessary support for the Allen Street project, leaving the affected areas vulnerable to further damage. By not considering bonding as a viable financing option, the council risks exacerbating the current problems. Bonding offers a more immediate and reliable source of funds, enabling the city to undertake the necessary improvements promptly. It allows for spreading the costs over an extended period, making it more manageable for the city's budget while ensuring that critical infrastructure projects like the Allen Street project are not indefinitely postponed. That's my comment. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Robert. Our next speaker is Carol Oster.
I know it's difficult to make decisions that can't please everyone all of the time. But my name is Carol Ostad, and I live at 38 Wellington Street in New Britain, Connecticut. I came here tonight because I think there is an item that's missing from the bonding agenda, that is addressing the storm water improvements on Allen Street and elsewhere. The ongoing threat of property damage, public safety, and health will continue. Our city can no longer put these infrastructure upgrades at the bottom of the list. I'm a newly retired professor from Central, where I taught for 37 years. I bought my house at 38 Wellington Street years ago. I could have chosen to live elsewhere, but I chose New Britain because I believed this city, I believed in this city, and I wanted to contribute to making it a place that people were proud to call home. Over the years, my husband and I worked tirelessly to maintain and improve our property. Little by little, as finances allowed, we made our home and its grounds into something that we and passerbys would enjoy. Neighbors often stopped to admire the flowers, the trees, the lawn, and told me they look forward to seeing the zinnias blooming every year when I plant them. But we invested not only in the beauty of our home, but in its stability. It's not stable anymore. Our basement was dry for 5 or more years, but little by little the flooding became disastrous. We had to choose between upgrading our property or flooding. After frittering away thousands of dollars on our hard-earned money, the flooding problem persists. So today I'm asking you plainly, why is this still unresolved? I'm pleading with you, you elected officials, to set politics aside and to do the right thing. Of course, parks and parking lots are important. I love them. But there are priorities. If the council can't address the basic needs of longtime citizens like myself, if you choose to ignore and belittle community activists who have appropriately brought this to your attention, if the safety and welfare of residents in flood-prone areas are being ignored and not prioritized, then what message are you sending to us? Your vote not to care for flooded citizens makes it impossible for me to proudly say that New Britain is a city that listens, that cares, and takes care of its people. Should I tell my colleagues and others who come to work in the New Britain area not to buy property here because of the chronic flooding and lack of response by city officials? Is that what we're going to have to come to? So you have the power to fix this. You can show that this council is responsive, responsible, and willing to put the health and safety of its citizens first. Please reconsider. Don't wait for state intervention. Don't pass this off to someone else. Act now. Provide bonding and funds for the Allen Street project. Help those of us who invested our lives in the city to continue to believe in it. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Professor Oster. Next speaker is David DeFranzo.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dave
I've been asked to say you're a state rep from the 26th district.
Okay, thank you. My name is Dave DeFranzo. I live at 95 Pape Road. I'm here tonight to speak in support of additional funding for the Allen Street reconstruction project. But I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about the state's bonding process and why it is important that our state delegation and city officials work together to get the best possible results for residents. The bonding process at the state begins at the beginning of each legislative session. Every member of the General Assembly, all 151 representatives, 36 senators, have an opportunity to submit multiple bond requests to their respective caucuses. This session, House Democrats alone will submit over 75 individual requests for bonding dollars. Once all requests are submitted, they are reviewed by our House Chair of the General Obligation Bonding Subcommittee, Representative Napoli, who some of you met when he was here touring the Allen Street area last year. The subcommittee then will submit a list of projects to the General Assembly. All those individual projects are put together, and it's commonly referred to as the bond package. Once the General Assembly has authorized the bond package and it is signed by the governor, the State Bond Commission must then allocate bond funds for each of those individual projects. Projects that are deemed critical, cost-effective, and shovel-ready are placed on the Bond Commission's agenda. However, state law limits the total amount of general fund supported state debt the Bond Commission can allocate to 1.6 times the estimated net general fund tax receipts for the fiscal year of the authorization. It's just a fancy way of saying there's a cap on the amount of money that the State Bond Commission can authorize. The commission is a 10-member executive legislative committee consisting of the governor, treasurer, comptroller, and other state officials. The governor chairs the commission, and he alone sets the agenda. Submitting a project request and getting it on the commission's agenda does not in and of itself guarantee the project will be funded. The commission must still vote to finance the proposal. The state delegation has made the Allen Street reconstruction project our #1 priority. We have been clear with the governor's office, Speaker Ritter, and the bonding subcommittee that we need to move this project forward. We have made 2 arguments in support of our bond request. Number 1, the impacts of consistent flooding have created an ongoing public health crisis, and it's been a disruption to the quality of life for the residents and business owners of that area. And 2, because of the scope and complexity of the project, the cost is prohibitive and outside the city's ability to finance it independently. The $4.2 million previously allocated by the city was a good first step to aiding our efforts at the state level. However, the items on your agenda tonight will impact if and when the state will provide additional assistance. Any additional resources the city can commit to this project will be beneficial. Just quickly, I know it may be frustrating that we can't give you a definitive answer about if and when state bonding money will become available. I'm sure all of you are aware that the legislative process is slow and frustrating. All we can do is try to put the city and residents in the best possible position. I think making some small changes to the bonding agenda tonight will do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative DeFranzo. Our next speaker is Don Naples, former alderman.
My name is Don Naples. I live at 143 Fairway Drive. I'm here to speak in favor of the White Bridge Wellfield project. I sent a letter to the council. It's only 1 page. I hope you all read it, and I'm happy to see this on here. I still want to make the point, a lot of people don't realize no bonding's required for this project because the city will be getting a loan from the Connecticut Department of Health Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, which I didn't know existed till recently. I just have one request, is that the council vote to take care of your descendants like our ancestors took care of us for the last 100 years with the water. I figured I was gone for 40 years. I lived in 18 different places being in the service and had a chance to drink water everywhere. Nothing's like New Britain water. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Naples. That's all the names I have on the list, but anybody else wish to address the council? Mr. Canzaro.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Paul Cantanzaro, 250 Hillhurst Avenue. Been around a while, and we talked about some of these things long time ago. One of them is the water, the wells. That goes back to the Patton Brook debacle, if you will. These wells, which I understand there is a consensus, when they're done and fixed, is going to produce an incredible amount of water per day. We've been lucky so far. Our forefathers did probably the best thing they did with our watershed property, but there's been a couple times where it got pretty close. And we do sell water to other communities. So this is just going to go that much farther to ensure that we have plenty of water, not run out, and take care of the other, cities that we do. So I think this is a very crucial and needed project, and I appreciate everybody's support on that. I'm here to speak in favor of all the bonding tonight. The park stuff, the Willow Street, I know that's an important item for a bunch of members here. We tore down that eyesore, and now we're going to open up the park. I think that's much more than to make it pretty. It's a safety issue and a vandalism issue. I worked in the park for 25 years. When I was assigned to clean that park, it was almost an endless battle every day. All kinds of mess, vandalism, things broken, needles. At night, it turned into a whole different thing. So this is going to open that up. People can see it. It's going to be lit better. It's well needed. Walnut Hill paving project. I don't have to tell you how many people walk around the loop. Thousands of people from all over the state come here to walk around that loop. And that paving needs to get done. The Martha Hard dredging project. We did Stanley Quarter. That's a very slow process, as you know. We got to go through the engineering, but at least we can start it and get that beautiful piece of water, for the public again. And the Willowbrook Park paving. Again, the park. That park is used heavily between all the stadiums. That parking lot needs to be paved bad, and it brings an income. When it goes to the games, people are paying to get in. Excuse me, Chairman, can I have a little bit more time?
30 seconds.
And then all the school projects, obviously. We need, and we're going to get 95% reimbursement for Smith School, which is incredible. And as far as the Allen Street, I agree. If we can add something, because all of this doesn't mean anything if the state doesn't bond. So I don't see it hurts if we add whatever we can add on this, because it's still up to the state and the governor whether they're going to bond any of this. So why not give it a try? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. That's all the names I have on the list. Is there anybody calling in? No remote callers? Anybody else wish to address the council on these bonding issues? $157,500,000 for the Smith School reconstruction. $40.9 million state low-interest loan for the White Bridge Waterworks in Bristol, and proposed $6.3 million for various capital projects are on the agenda. Anybody else? Anybody else? Hearing none. Public participation is concluded at 6:19. Our special meeting will begin shortly. Oh, did we ask any comments? you'll be glad to know all the people have waived making any speeches tonight.
about alderpersons could make their way to their seats, we're going to get ready to start the special meeting. Sorry for the delay. Oh, just waiting on me. Cisco. Huh? I don't know. I gave it to John. I gave it to John. John's got it, so we'll do that. Do we know where Cisco went? Okay. I would like to call to order this special meeting of the New Britain Common Council. The date is March 26, 2025. It is 7 p.m. Mr. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Alderpersons McNamara.
Here?
Smedley. Sanchez. Beloin Saavedra. Simpson.
Present.
Russell. Barbosa. Hargraves. McAdam. Gibson. Scott. Connors. Malinowski. Pabon. Santiago. 15 present, Your Honor.
15 present. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The reading of the warrant.
Mayor's warrant to the clerk of the city of New Britain.
Mayor,
Alderman Santiago.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the reading of the warrant.
I have a second from Alderman Smedley. All those in favor of waiving the reading of the warrant, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Alderman Smedley, item 1.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept item number 1.
Second.
I have a second from Alderman Santiago.
Thank you. Your Honor, this is to accept the report of the Standing Bonding Subcommittee of the Common Council of Administration, Finance, and Law and Public Services regarding a $157,500,000 appropriation and bond authorization for school projects. And we will act on it next.
Have any questions on accepting the report? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 2, Alderman Smedley.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 2.
Seconded by Alderman Russell.
And Your Honor, this is the action on the previous item to act upon $157,500,000 appropriation and bond authorization for school projects. And Your Honor, briefly, these projects will include the Smith School renovation and early learning center construction project for $145 million, the Pulaski School HVAC project for $9,800,000, and the Slade School HVAC continuation and final project for $2,700,000, totaling the $157,500. And I do urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman Smedley. Are there any questions or comments about the Smith School project? Mr. Clerk?
Alderpersons McNamara.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Beloin Saavedra.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Russell. Barbosa. Hargraves. McAdam. Gibson. Scott. Connors. Malinowski. Pabon. Santiago. 15-0, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Alderman Santiago.
Your Honor, make a motion for recess.
Do I have a second? I have a second by Alderman Connors. All those in favor of entering recess, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? We're going to recess very briefly, 7:03.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to return back from recess.
I got a second. We are back from recess. The time is 7:18 PM. And Alderman Smedley has the floor. We left off on item number 3.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept item number 3.
Second.
I have a second from Alderwoman Bloin Saavedra.
Thank you. This is to accept the report of the Standing Bonding Subcommittee of the Common Council on Administration, Finance, and Law and Public Services regarding a $40,900,000 appropriation and bond authorization for New Britain's White Bridge Waterworks facility. I do urge acceptance. We'll talk more on the action item next.
Thank you, Alderman. Any questions or comments on accepting the report? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, Alderman Smedley.
Thank you. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 4.
Second.
I have a second from Alderwoman Bloin Saavedra.
And this is to act on the $40,900,000 appropriation and bond authorization for the New Britain White Bridge Waterworks facility.
Thank you, Alderman.
And Your Honor, I believe Mr. Amenta is here if anyone has any questions related to the project.
I will open the floor for discussion, for questions.
Mr. Menta, through you.
Yes. Please stand.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Menta. I wonder for those in the audience, and this is a $40.9 million, 2% loan
Correct.
to fix the White Bridge Waterworks, part of our watershed in Bristol. I wonder if you could just give us the status of that loan, and as well as any timetable you can provide.
Great, yeah, thank you. Yes, I was in touch with the State Health Department today, actually, and they've agreed to fund the project. And they're going to provide a $4.5 million grant, and then the rest will be 2% loan, and they're anxious to get the project out as soon as possible because most all the approvals are in. And I did want to say it's a just for clarification, even though you're doing a bond authorization, one, it doesn't go against the full faith and credit of the city because the water department is an enterprise fund. And secondly, it's not really a bond. It's basically a loan. It's a city-state loan agreement. That's where the 10% comes in, where the project is out to bid and the city draws down the funds and pays the contractors and so forth with the state money, and then it rolls into a 20-year note at 2%. So it doesn't affect your bonding capacity.
And one more, Your Honor. I asked this last week. This is a state revolving loan fund in partnership with the EPA. And some of us are growing concerned about what's emanating from Washington, D.C. these days. There's no chance that these funds this loan would be affected by that situation?
No, I was assured today that they have adequate funds for the entire project, and they're anxious to move forward with it.
Thank you. Are there any further questions on this item? Alderman McNamara?
Thank you, Mr. Menta. I'm going to make a friendly amendment, I hope, to this $40.9 million appropriation bond authorization that is a 2% loan from the state. Because the loan is in process and hasn't been formalized in terms of receipt by this notification for the city, I'd like to make an amendment on the first page and the third paragraph that reads as follows. This appropriation and bond authorization is conditioned upon the mayor's receipt of a project loan and subsidy agreement from the state of Connecticut under the state's Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Program. And I move.
I have a second by Alderman Smedley for that amendment. Any questions or comments on that amendment? Let's vote on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Back to the discussion on the item as amended once. Alderman McNamara, still have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move adoption unless any of the members have questions for Mr. Armenta or anyone else.
Alderwoman Valencia Vedra.
We talked about this a lot at the bonding subcommittee, but I thought, Mr. Armenta, if you could come up, because there are people in this room that weren't at the subcommittee or that might be watching from home. And could you talk about the importance of potable water and why this project is just so vital for the city of New Britain? Thank you.
Surely. Just as I'll give you a little history, that this White Bridge facility has provided water to the city of New Britain since 1923. The water would be conveyed to the Shuttle Meadow Reservoir and then treated at the treatment plant. I don't know if everybody knows, but there's only one potable treatment plant for the city of New Britain. So this upgrade or improvement would provide another source of potable water. So should the treatment plant have an issue, this is the backup source in, you know, if there's a fire or something, or an electrical issue that lasts longer than a few hours or days, this facility would be able to provide that backup. Secondarily, it does provide an additional level of water supply and safe yield for the city on a potable nature. I mean, and it has what is known as registered diversions. Registered diversions are not a subject of environmental review, so you can get that water. It's a matter of law based on the Diversion Permit Act of 1982. And also it provides a source in the Bristol area, because the city does sell water to Bristol, but it also makes the city more of a regional water supplier in the long term, which would benefit multiple communities, because you do sell to Bristol, you do sell to Berlin and the various districts. And it provides that resiliency and sustainability that everybody is looking for. And the facilities will be able to be operated remotely, so it won't be a staffing issue. And also the facilities will be raised above the 500-year flood, so they will be able to be run during any and all weather type events. And it also is, there's another kind of a minor wrinkle, but I think I want to point that out, that the state of Connecticut DEEP passed the minimum stream flow requirements for water supply reservoirs, and those will come into play over the next 2 to 3 years, and the city will actually lose some of its safe yield because it will have to discharge water during the summer from some of its reservoirs. So this will then keep the safe yield and the available water during a drought at the present level or higher. So it's a good project. Work hasn't been done there since the mid-'80s, just so everybody knows. And the equipment doesn't have parts anymore that can be found for it. Some of it goes back to the 50s. And so it's well worth doing to keep the water supply active. And as previously mentioned, it served present-day residents very well, and hopefully this will serve future residents of New Britain for many, many years to come.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Armenta. Yeah. So I just want to point out a couple of quick things, especially for people who might be watching at home. So this would be our backup clean water, drinkable water. So we're talking about drinking water, so that people understand how valuable and important having a backup source of clean water is. Currently, right now, we don't have that. Years ago, there was a plan in place, and it was not approved by the council, so it's imperative to have this project go through tonight. I also just want to reemphasize that it's not property taxes that will pay down on that loan. It's going to come out of the Water Department's enterprise zone, and I think that's really, enterprise fund, excuse me, and I just think that's really important for the people at home to understand this doesn't affect your property tax rate. And two, just so that people also understand, because this conversation is moving quickly tonight, we had a leadership meeting where you came in, Mr. Armenta, and explained the program to us. We had a bonding subcommittee where we talked about this thoroughly, and then here we are again tonight. So I just wanted to put those things on the record so people understand why this conversation might not be as lengthy as it otherwise have been. We've had 3 opportunities, at least leadership has had 3 opportunities to have this conversation, and thank you for the information that you provided us. I urge adoption, Your Honor.
Any other alderperson? Mr. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Alderpersons McNamara,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Belang Saavedra, Simpson,
Yes.
Russell, Barbosa, Hargraves, McAdam, Gibson, Scott,
Yes.
Connors,
Yes.
Malinowski, Pabon, Santiago,
Yes.
15-0, as amended once, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Thank you. Alderman Smedley. Item 5.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept item number 5.
Second by Alderman Santiago.
And this will be to accept the report of the Standing Bonding Subcommittee of the Common Council on Administration, Finance, and Law and Public Services regarding a $6,300,000 appropriation and bond authorization for various capital improvements for the city of New Britain.
Yep. Thank you, Alderman. Are there any questions or comments on the report? All those in favor of accepting the report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Smedley, item 6.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 6.
Seconded by Alderwoman Beloin Saavedra.
And Your Honor, this is to act upon the previous discussion item for $6,300,000 appropriation and bond authorization for various capital improvements for the city of New Britain. And I do believe there will be some amendments and discussion following.
Thank
when I say
you.
that.
Alderman Smedley. Alderman Santiago.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. There's a couple of amendments that need to be struck. We need to strike out of whereas and resolve, remove Walnut Hill, I need a motion to strike all not to strike all, remove the 2 projects, Walnut Hill Park paving project, which was 1.625, and also the Willowbrook Park paving project, which was 1.950.
Seconded by, we'll do bipartisan, Alderman Smedley.
Also, Your Honor, would be the full total after this would be $2,725,000.
Okay. So the amendment has been made, it's been seconded. Is there any discussion on the amendment?
Also, Your Honor, I'm sorry to
Oh.
say, whereas we have to remove that 6.3
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and put the 2.7.
Put the 2725
Yep.
even, or whatever that is. And then the text in the
Correct.
resolved will reflect that as well. Okay, so the motion has been made, seconded. Is there any discussion on the amendment? And then we'll go back to discussing it as amended.
Your Honor, as amended, I would like a little discussion, just to kind of give a follow for the people
Oh,
that's
let's approve the amendment first.
Okay, yep.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so amendments on the floor. All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll discuss the resolution in front of us as amended once.
All right.
with
Thank
the
you, Your Honor.
redaction. Yep.
As we know, we all want parks. We all want, projects done. But at the point of where the city is, we have to pick priorities. So we had to remove some projects that we'll probably look forward to working on in the future. But right now, we're taking the 2 that's president. And then also the money that's left, where we have a discussion. Next month, we're having a special meeting to discuss putting the rest of the bonding money into Allen Street. So, I'm looking forward to those discussions.
Alderman Smedley.
Thank you, Your Honor. I also rise in support of the resolution as amended, and I want to thank my fellow colleagues on the council for working at the table with us so that everybody could be happy and we could pass this unanimously. It's tough because as a city who likes new schools, our school bonding projects max out our credit card space, right, our headroom, and we do have to prioritize. So I'm happy that we were all able to come to an agreement tonight on this, and I look forward to the future projects and possibly involving those paving projects when we start to pay down our school building projects over the next life cycle.
Thank you, Alderman Smedley. Alderman McNamara.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm supporting of the amendments offered by Alderman Santiago. And I'm pleased to say we'll be scheduling a bond meeting on or about April 16th to to take up bonding money for the reconstruction Phase 2, Oak Street to Beacon Street on Allen Street, that will provide additional funds to meet that $14 million price tag as we wait word from what the state will provide. So I'm pleased to support additional funding in addition to the $4 million in funding already committed, thereabouts $4 million, as a match to get this project done. Thank you.
Any other discussion on the item? Alderman Gibson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will be in support of this resolution. I mean, this the amendment to this proposal. We're not just supporting the project, but we're also investing in the quality of life. And our residents, especially our residents in Ward 3, deserve a high-quality park that will be open, with green space and exclusiveness and accessibility so they can enjoy nature and have recreational activities, just like the other parks that came up to high quality and high skill. The residents of Ward 3 and the rest of the city should deserve it. We voted hard to get that eyesore demolished, and I hope to see this project come into fruition and clear that space out. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Gibson. Any other Alderwoman Beloin-Saavedra?
Thank you. Although I would have liked to see the bond go through as originally submitted, I supported the amendment. And I do want to say it was really important to get the Willow Street project in Ward 3 accomplished tonight, as well as the pond dredging in Ward 1. Those are the two wards that have had the least amount of attention in terms of the parks. Many people were on this council when the Osgood $10 million project went through, and Osgood was totally revamped. A.W. Stanley Quarter has been done. Chesley Park had a total reface, so I think we need to look at, although we represent wards, we are a body, a united body at times, and it would be nice to have the support so that Ward 3 in that neighborhood, very much needed in that neighborhood, and with the house that came down, the building that came down, and Iris and I were talking about Vision Zero and what's going to happen. That's a whole corridor happening over there, and we need to support Ward 3 and what's happening over there, both from the park perspective and from Vision Zero in that corridor. And I live in Ward 1, Alderman Simpson, Alderman Russell. Martha Hart had a period of time where things were happening in that pond, and people like to go there and fish. That park also serves Vance School, and the school children at Vance, they use that as a secondary area for recreation. And the people who live in the neighborhood, from Corbin Ave to Arch Street, that is their park, and we need to support and continue to support things that happen. This council often talks about, especially when the rock climbers come, talks about its support for outside activities, for recreation, for the kids. These two areas are specifically for outdoor recreation and for our kids, so I urge support of it. Thank you.
Any other alderperson? Alderwoman Scott.
Thank you. Listen, I love parks and I love green space. And I agree with having more green spaces in Ward 3, but maybe my statement might be a little bit different. I don't want anyone to misunderstand what I'm saying, but I do believe in prioritizing important things as a single mom with no child support and no government assistance, all on my own. I know a lot about prioritizing, and I really hope that this council will be sure that we do make sure that the bonding money goes through to Allen Street project. A lot of my constituents are concerned, actually, even though I love green spaces and I love the idea of us doing this, they are very concerned about the homelessness in this city. They're concerned about their safety. They're concerned about education. And the flooding is a health crisis, and it is a safety concern directly to Ward 3 and Ward 4, where our houses are flooding. So I just want to be sure that that's mentioned tonight as we're talking about this, that there will be some money that will go indefinitely towards the flooding issue here, because that is extremely important. We had several speakers here earlier speaking upon that, and I just want to be sure that we are going going to make sure that that happens, so thank you.
Alderman Simpson?
Thank you, Your Honor. Anybody that has heard my spiel on New Britain knows that I love our parks and our water first and foremost. So I rise in begrudging support, not begrudging to help any water situations going on in the city, but to have to forego some projects going on in my district at the parks that we all tend to enjoy. I do rise in support of this amendment, though. As it stands right now, we are set to approve just over $200 million in borrowing, and as of right now, not a penny of that is going to Allen Street. So I do want to express that I hope that our district foregoing these projects results in Allen Street getting additional funds towards it. Because while I am saddened to forego the maintenance of some of our A-plus parks, I am horrified to forego fixing the quality of really your guys' life. And I just thank you for being on us every single meeting. And Mr. Pope, I believe I owe you a follow-up while I'm at it. I rise in support and I urge adoption. Thank you.
Any other alderperson wish to comment on the item as amended? Mr. Clerk?
Your Honor, for clarification, there's 3 spots where I'm taking off the 6.3 million regarding, and
Yes.
then in the first resolved and near the bottom.
Correct.
Okay, great. Okay, alderpersons McNamara,
Aye.
Smedley,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Beloin Saavedra,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Russell, Barbosa, Hargraves, McAdam, Gibson, Scott,
Yes.
Connors, Malinowski, Pabon, Santiago. 15-0, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Made by Alderman Santiago, seconded by Alderman Malinowski. All those in favor of adjournment say aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned. The time is 7:40 PM. The regular meeting